Another White Orchid Phantom is a great draw. Gets us back to a 3-turn clock here. We were going to get an extra turn for Andrea. Now, we do have 7 mana, excuse me, 8 mana with the Talisman. So close, very close to Ulamog. And we can
What?
get to Ulamog to win.
Yeah.
That's my high-level analysis. If you cast Ulamog, you will probably win.
That's a pretty reasonable assessment. Whatever level Magics we're playing at, but there'll be two draws. There'll be two cards drawn at the start. Oh, an Ugin.
Oh, the
That's like
new Ugin.
that new Ugin has just sniped off the way that you were going to pull ahead. We've put the other Ugin under, or Ulamog, sorry, under the end of the land, and there's the Khan, and Fabian's just gone. I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, the fact that Ugin turns every single card into a mini Ulamog trigger just absolutely warps the game dramatically, and it counting itself there as well, just clearing all the flyers and Fabian going, yeah, maybe I rip an Answer to the Torpor Orb, and maybe I rip something else, but with you having the Ugin and the Ulamog in face up, there's no way I ever win in time before you stabilize there. So great one by Fabian. You can still have a very strong finish at 7-2 if we win the last round of Swiss here in round 9. But, is going to have to win that one out to hopefully have a great run here.
Yeah, some fantastic Magic being played today, and a great run for both of these players. Regardless, they're hitting like only 1 or 2 losses here, heading towards the final round. See, 9 rounds here on the day still to come, and obviously we've got one more round to bring you. Before we do that, we're gonna have a break, and we're gonna come back then fresh and ready to go for the final matchups of the 4 Seasons tournament here, the winter tournament. Although we're getting towards the summertime, but that will be coming soon, and we'll be back with more action. Everyone, welcome back to the final round of coverage today for the winter tournament here from the brought to you by the Four Seasons in Bologna. What a great set of matches we've had this morning, afternoon, night, and we got more coverage for you tomorrow with a big, massive legacy. So obviously, do make sure you tuned in the morning for that. It's me, Old Emo Dave, here with Mason Clark, and we are going into the final round where we are going to watch yet a new deck for us. We've got the main zoo. And it's going up. We've seen Scepter already today, but in different colors. We've got Scepter blue, white. Stefano here is on what I'm going to call stock zoo because we have seen some like new variations come up. But you ever been a bit of a zoo fan, Mason?
Yeah. I like Zoo. There was a period in time last year where I thought it was actually quite a good deck, and then we sort of saw the evolution of like Consign plus Null Drifter in the main deck, and then it sort of lost me. But my big like thing I love about this deck is it's great against energy. It's like against any fair deck, you can beat somebody with Leyline plus Draco, and then Doorkeeper Thrall actually answers a ton of the format, and then your sideboard is just all good answers to combo decks. You're kind of like big clunky energy when it comes to your role in the format, right? But that's not like a negative, right? You sort of you're a little bit more awkward than they are, but you overpower a lot of those decks as well. So I really like this deck. It can be fickle. Your mana is really punishing. You do sort of walk into some hate cards that those kind of decks don't, but a lot of power to be gained in order to pay that price.
Yeah, like the biggest, strongest pieces at the point of the curve that you can have wedged together is pretty much what you got here. So
Mhm.
it's like, Ragavan being one of the best turn ones, so, Territorial Carver being massive on turn two, leading into those big turns. And then we've got a similar, we saw a Jeskai version of this earlier, but it's a Scepter deck again, dropping the reds to not having any flage, to now actually be leading all the way just into counter magic.
Yeah, so this one, basically the big differences are like you mentioned that there's a little bit more of counters in the deck, and then Kahira in the sideboard. Besides that, you don't get like the galvanic, excuse me, discharges that we had a couple of in our Jeskai deck. But it's at the end of the day, you're a prison deck, right? You're not changing up too much. You're still presenting this game plan. You got an extra consult the star charts, right? A standard all star when it comes to blue white, and really good at making A plus B happen, which makes a lot of sense to see this card in this deck, right? It's not the best card draw spell ever printed, not even the best card draw spell in modern, but when you're trying to assemble, two different lock pieces, this is a great card. And so I'm excited to see how this deck plays out against Domain Zoo, as I imagine game one is fairly good for you, but then gets a little bit trickier once they get to sort of sculpt their answer spells. And we're at 6-2 watching these players. Our top eight is pre-split, so these players we believe are battling it out for prizes here. The difference maker.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you got always quite a popular deck from when you come across any of these um sort of these European scenes. There's always someone who's very, very well sculpted on the control deck. But Stefano will really want to get out of the gates here, being on the draw. I think turn one Ragavan is almost a must. But I like to think he's probably got slightly different decisions on the fact that he's waiting it out. Um, Shock fetching. What are we looking? What are we looking to get? There was no ley line, which is like a big, massive difference to sort of where like your life total usually sets out. Not
Mhm.
so much when you're playing against control. Not going to matter so much if you're having to shock fetch down for everything that you need. But also means that the turn two effect. So there is the Ragavan. Like the Scion of Draco threat is not likely to be coming. And yeah, just a quick prismatic there to deal with the Ragavan.
Yeah, and this also, now you have this awkward turn two. You're sort of hoping to connect to that Ragavan and then, play your Territorial Kavu. But looks like Yuri maybe kept a two-lander and didn't get there on the third land. So maybe some saving grace here, as that Scion of Draco is not actually playable, right? Because it's a 4 mana card. But, this is a pre-recorded match, such is life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Um, yeah. Thought we might have raced up the territorial Carvu then, but no, we've cast that Draco.
Yep. And for everyone at home, these sort of things happen. We will inform a judge and make sure a penalty gets applied to the player slash, sort of keeping track of that sort of thing for the future. It is very easy to make a silly little mistake like this, even if you've played this deck for a long time. It can be hard to track. It just
Exactly.
happens.
Oh, we forced into a Kasayan fighting over an Orm's chant there. So it was a big stack, which in balance might actually end up favoring the domain side because they do have some resources left in hand.
Hmm.
Oh no, right, okay. So they're now actually, by the looks of it, they are actually now calling a judge over, and I think it might be
Hmm.
potentially in relation to what happened on that stack. So obviously we'll take they'll take a look at the outcome of this, and obviously again it's about sort of reversing back to
Well,
the correct place.
yeah, I'm no judge, but I live in a town with like five L3s that work pro tours, and so I often ask hypotheticals like this a lot, and it's up to the judge's discretion, sort of what's said, all that sort of stuff matters. My guess is so much has happened that these players are going to get a ruling to failure to maintain game state, and then play will continue, right? Because we've drawn
Yeah,
cards, we've pitched cards, right? And so had this been caught, let's say when Stefano had played it and passed, we probably would have rewound and been like, hey, you're tapped out, play something different, slash, put this back in your hand and let's figure it out from here. I don't know if production, because this is pre-recorded, if we can jump past this judge call. I don't know if we have that sort of technology here for the Four Seasons, but sometimes this can take a while. And I will just be talking to Dave until it's done, as the judge seems to
yeah.
be
I
applying a
would
ruling here.
I would have taken my learnings from similarly, live around a couple of judges who've done who do go around touring the world on the Pro Tour scene. They pretty much have told me whenever I've like looked after locals or pre-releases, if it's gone too far, you have to just cut your losses, and everyone has to know they should have done better, and then you move on. But they they're gonna go through and figure out when that was fixed for us now, and so that we
Hmm.
can get through to it. So yeah, if you spotted that in Twitch chat that should have been 4 mana, not 2 mana, give yourself a point, and give yourself a note. And whilst you're waiting for it, obviously you got obviously was to give a quick shout out. Obviously, if you ever want to catch up with myself or Mason on any of the socials, you got a little tag underneath where you can find us. You can find us both on YouTube as well in that similar place. But we're going to get back to the action now. Um, Doing a new 7.
Wow.
I'm not too sure
I
what
am
happened.
I am